Tucker Carlson interviewed Tristan Tate. This is the other Tate brother. Oh yeah, we're talking about this. You bet we're talking about this. I'm gonna remind, I know a lot of you want me to talk about this. There are always a few of you who are asking me, why are we talking about this again? Why are we paying attention to the Tate brothers? And the reason is because if we don't pay attention to the Tate brothers, then we will wake up in 15 years and we will wonder, how on earth did these young people believe? How did they become indoctrinated with these terrible beliefs? How did they become so warped and detached from reality? And the reason will be because we didn't counter what was being poured into their heads. What's being poured into their heads is poison from the Tate brothers, especially young men. Young men idolize Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate, and the reason is because Andrew Tate accurately diagnoses the cultural ill that society vilifies young men. That's true, and it's very bad. And this resonates with young men who have faced cultural attack, telling them that testosterone is toxic and that women should be believed, even if it's a frivolous allegation of sexual harassment. Like, these are bad attacks on men. So young men look to Andrew Tate, who finally is sympathizing with their grievances, but Andrew Tate then leads them towards a path of self-destruction. Instead of prescribing a good life for them or good political policies to protect masculinity and embrace it, he leads them towards materialism, pornography, exploitation of women, and worship of self, which is ultimately incredibly destructive, which is why we will be speaking out. So Tucker interviewed Andrew Tate a couple weeks ago. As you know, it was one of the most viewed interviews in all the world. Tucker then 2 days ago interviewed Tristan Tate, or released the interview that he did with Tristan Tate. And a lot of people are wondering why Tucker Carlson interviewed Tristan Tate. And we're going to talk about that because it is a very interesting question in just a second. This is how he started his interview, though. This is what Tucker asked Tristan Tate. Take a listen.
I didn't realize that there are apparently women involved in your human trafficking gang.
Yeah, in this organized criminal gang. So what you have to understand is this. They didn't want the case file, the evidence to be that I manipulated people by being nice to them to make TikTok videos. That's not what they wanted. They put me all over the news. They searched every house I own in the country with armed men. They were looking for victims of something. Yes. They were looking for scorned ex-girlfriends, any woman to come forward and say that she was hurt by me. They were looking for real evidence. The fact that the case file is so laughable now is just because real evidence doesn't exist. So when you have no real evidence, you go for junk evidence. You try to make your case on human trafficking based on, well, they were nice to these girls on TikTok. And these are girls who would say to me, hey, share my post on Instagram. I'll be like, yeah, no problem. So, because I'm a big social media guy. I don't know a single person when I had Instagram, from my cameraman to my personal trainer, who didn't ask me to blow them up on Instagram. But that is now the link they have between me and these people, saying that they're human trafficked, even though these people, defend me. But there are 2 women involved, yes. My personal assistant and her friend got thrown in prison with me. Essentially, their crime was inviting one of the alleged victims to a birthday party that I wasn't even at.
So a lot of you are asking me, in the wake of Tucker publishing this interview with Tristan Tate, why Tucker did this interview. I think it was a question a lot of people had about why he interviewed Andrew Tate too, but a lot of people were willing to kind of excuse him and be like, well, maybe he didn't know. Maybe he didn't realize that there's more to Andrew Tate than meets the eye. So now they're wondering, well, after everything that's come out, that's been exposed about Andrew Tate and the things he's done, especially running this pornography business and this horrible misogyny and sexism, why would Tucker interview Tristan Tate? And my answer to that question is, I don't know. I don't know. I like Tucker. I respect his work. I think that he's an incredible voice for the conservative movement in general. I think he's totally wrong on this. I don't know what his motivation is. I don't. We could spend a lot of time trying to psychoanalyze him or speculate on why he conducted this interview, but I think our time would be better spent if we were to make sure that a couple of things are established. First of all, the premise of this interview, or the premise of what Tucker seems to be asking Tristan Tate, is, oh, this must be a bogus charge against you because there are women involved in your operation. Now, I'm going to stick to the rule that I've been sticking to. I'm not here to comment on the legal case against Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate. I'm here to make the moral case against Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate. And Tucker knows, just as you know, just as I know, that madames and, pimps who have their female sidekick, the Ghislaine Maxwell type people, is a tale as old as time. So I'm not sure what kind of point Tucker's trying to make there, but in the interest in sticking to the moral case against Andrew and Tristan Tate and not the legal case, I think this is something that anyone who watched the Tucker interview of Tristan Tate should also know about Tristan Tate. This is Tristan Tate describing how he kept large percentages of the money that was earned by women who were doing pornography for him. So take a listen to this.
Well, you know, the top girls, they earned a lot, but they weren't working for money. They were working because they liked me. They respected me. They wanted my attention. They wanted to end up as my main girl, or the girl who had my kids, whatever it is their dream was. So they work and work away, and I keep large percentages of the money. That's one of the reasons I got so rich in this business. So, you know, giving them the sex, giving them the attention that they needed, I found myself much more free.
So you heard Tristan Tate for himself. He said he kept large percentages of the money earned by these girls who were doing pornography for him. He said this is how he became wealthy in this business. And he said he convinced these girls to do this by tricking them into liking him, into vying for his attention. It wasn't strictly a business deal. It was emotional manipulation. And this is, I think, one of the most common comments about pornography in general, but specifically regarding the Tates is, well, didn't these girls have the agency to do this if they wanted to do it, or not do it if they didn't want to do it? And the answer to that, you can hear from Tristan Tate himself when he talks about how he physically manipulated the business so that they felt that they didn't have anywhere to go if they left if they stopped doing pornography for him. So take a listen to this.
Let them take full control over their accounts. They will run away. I like to keep the girls' passwords. I log them in and log them out. If you give the girl the password to her account, there's a chance she could run away and try it by herself. I've had that happen.
So you tell me if the term run away is a term that's typically used when you just have a purely business-oriented contract, just an employment agreement. Do you describe your employees as running away if they're able to take the skills and monetize them elsewhere? You make that decision. And then, of course, Tristan Tate talks about how he treats women, his lifestyle, how he lies to women, especially virgins, in order to convince them to have casual sex with them. So then that's the business aspect of what Tristan Tate did, running his pornography business. You can decide whether he manipulated women, whether he exploited women, whether he treated women with respect, if he is a good role model for young men, or if that is a poor role model for young men. But then Tristan Tate ran a workshop for young men in which he promised to teach them how he lies to young, innocent women in order to trick them into having casual sex with him before he discards them. Take a listen to this.
When you run game like me and meet the women who I meet and roll in the circles I meet, you meet beautiful virgins sometimes. Me, I'll do 2 or 3 virgins a year. Now, how do you date a virgin when you're an ice cold player? There is a tactic which I'm going to share with you on how to date a virgin and how to take a girl's virginity. Now, the recipe hasn't changed, but the tactics and the implementation has certainly changed. Be their boyfriend for 3 months and be in a nice relationship with them. That is the recipe. I'm sorry, guys. You want to run into a virgin and f her the next day? Don't ask me how. I don't know. I don't think anyone knows. I don't even think it's possible. You have to be their boyfriend for an extended period of time. You then have to take her virginity on the 2nd month anniversary or something along those lines, and I'm going to teach you how to do it while still being in a playboy lifestyle scenario. What you do with your virgin is you turn everything into a date. I need to go have a business lunch with my brother or my friends. I make sure she's there. I Uber her in, I Uber her out. If I have to go for a drive, I make sure she's with me. I go and pick her up, do my drive, drop her off, go back home. If I have to go to a club, she's part of my double booking scenario. She's always with me at least 3 or 4 times a week, irregardless of what I'm doing. I go to a lot of lunches and a lot of dinners. I eat at restaurants a lot. I take her to the restaurant. Nothing about my life has changed. I'm not going out of my way. I'm not making specific time for her. I'm not trying my best to take her on dates and show her a good time. What I'm doing is I'm adding her into my normal everyday life.
Hi guys, it's Liz Wheeler. Don't forget to watch my show, The Liz Wheeler Show, every night at 7 p.m. on the First TV. You can download the free First TV app, or you can visit thefirsttv.com/Liz and start watching today.